Aloha, I'm Jocelyn with Sustainable Coastlines Hawaii. I'm focused on our relearning program, doing education here in the organization. And today we're going to be thinking a little bit about civics. So trying to think of maybe why civics is sexy and how there are certain ways that we can get involved in civics. So I think that civics is sexy, something we should all care about, because it's our kuleana, our responsibility to take care of our communities and our lands here, and in order to do that we have to all try to contribute as much as we can. That being said, let's try to figure out who in the world is this person next to me. Who are you?
Yeah, aloha, I'm Rafael, also with Sustainable Coastlines Hawaii, and have been involved with civics for a long time now, almost 15 years of just really understanding like how being involved at that community level really does help protect the things that we love, protect Aina, protect each other, but also that it's not always apparent to everybody how to get involved in the civic process. And so us being able to break that down a little bit more, I think will help people feel access to really knowing why civics is sexy.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Well, today specifically, I think in our civics journey, we want to focus on the Honolulu Charter Commission that is coming up in this 10-year cycle. I had no idea what the heck this was, and I'm still trying to figure it out, so I'm going to ask Raf to help demystify this a little bit.
Yeah, it's a really cool opportunity in the civic world of Honolulu specifically right now. So the Honolulu Charter Commission, as Jocelyn said, is something that happens only every 10 years. And you can think of the charter as essentially the constitution of the city. And every 10 years, there's a cycle where the community actually gets to submit ideas about what do we want to see changed within our city. And the Charter Commission then takes all of these different proposals, which already happened. It just happened. There's about 300 and plus proposals that were sent to the city with different ideas on how can we essentially change the constitution of the city. And now we have another level of scrutiny that the public gets to be a part of in weighing in on the proposals that have been submitted.
So how come it's only every 10 years?
That's a great question. I think that I'm not necessarily the right person to answer that fully, other than it's such a big deal to change a constitutional document that you want to give a lot of time to create the new ideas, to understand what is it that's missing within our community, what is it that we need, what are the problems that we're trying to solve for over time. That's not to say that it shouldn't be more often or that we should have more of an opportunity to do it, but that just happens to be how it was set up for the city and county of Honolulu.
That gives us a little bit more pressure to make sure that we get on this bandwagon and try to be as civic as we can for this round. Okay, in that case, can you give us a little rundown of how we can get involved with this?
Yeah, so like I said, a lot of proposals have already been submitted, and the best way to do this is, well, first of all, if you're connected to an organization like Sustainable Coastlines Hawaii, us, or anybody else in the community that you know works on something that you care deeply about, whether it's Aina work, whether it's food security work, whether it's governance work, connect with those organizations, because they might already have templates and things that you can follow along with, which we'll get into. But the easiest way to start is by going to this website that we have up on our computer screen here, which is part of the Honolulu City Council website, but this is specifically the Charter Commission's website, which is live right now because we're in this period of submitting testimony. So honolulucitycouncil.org/charter-commission. That's where you're going to want to go. And on this page right now, it's a pretty simple web page that has these quick links to it. And this is kind of your backbone for understanding what to do next. You can learn about the actual revised charter or read the current charter of the city of Honolulu here. But more importantly, for what we're getting into is the participation part, right, Jocelyn? We want to know how do we actually support some of these things. So if you just want to view proposals, you have that link, but we're going to focus right here on this bottom section here. We just got off the phone with the Charter Commission on helping us to really understand what's important, and they said one of the biggest things you can do, join their email list, because they'll update you on when the different hearings that are going to be happening around these proposals is actually going to happen. So step one, join email list, you go right there, a wonderful Google form. Many of you have probably seen these. Fill out this very simple thing with your name and email, and you'll be more up to date that way. The next level of things is this submit testimony button. And this is an important one because this is where you're actually going to go to write in about a proposal that already exists. And Jocelyn, how did we come to this point? Like, why are we getting involved? How do we know about proposals already?
Good question. Yeah, as I said, I had no idea about any of this before, but we happened to be at one of our AINA days that is in partnership with Nation of Hawaii, and I was doing a little CRB workshop with some awesome ladies over there, and they started to explain to me that they were putting in a charter proposal specifically for a right to food, and it'll be related to food security needs and things like that, but ultimately that centerpiece is focusing on that basic need for all of us to have food, right? And how we all have that right to food. And I was like, wow, this is super important. How do I get involved? And that's how kind of this whole thing started to open up for us. And we were like, shoot, we're an organization. We have some say. We should probably get involved in this and bring other people into it as well. Because I feel like these things are not really made to be user friendly oftentimes, or people don't even know what's happening. It's hard for people to get up to date on these things and these opportunities to really get involved, but this is an exciting moment for us to actually potentially make a big difference to the actual constitution of our city. It's pretty exciting.
Yeah, exactly. And so what I was alluding to before of like people who are already working on some of those things, these right to food amendments, they actually created a website, Food is Right, is a right, not a privilege. And this kind of explains the different proposals that are there. So proposal P031 and proposal P119, both represent two different things, and people can actually submit testimony on these right now. And what you would do is you would go to this submit testimony page, which is from the Charter Commission, get started here. Again, it's filling out your different affiliations. I've already filled most of these things out for myself, so if I keep going, the next phase of it, general written testimony is what you would want to click. And then you actually get to say whether you support or oppose, or whether you just want to comment about it. But here's where you would put the proposal number that you have to find based on your connections to another organization or something that we can share with you. Write your written testimony and click submit. It's pretty simple. And this gets more, as the Charter Commission starts to review all these different proposals, the more support that they see from the public for specific topics, the more likely they are to actually get it onto the ballot. So that's a really important piece. What does all of this actually mean? Come November of next year, during the full election cycle, there will be a series of these charter amendments that are chosen by the Charter Commission based on all of this testimony that's been submitted that actually go onto our public ballot. And everybody in the city and county of Honolulu will have the opportunity to vote essentially yes or no on these charter commissions that have been iterated through this process.
And I feel like that's a really important point to touch on, because I feel like so much of the time when people think of civics as an idea, we're like, oh, you go and vote, right? But it's like, how much say do we actually have in that initial creation of that ballot? Usually it's just us being there, hopefully being informed citizens, not always, right? And hoping that we can choose the best candidate or best policies that we can. But in this case, it's an exciting moment where we can actually try to write what's going to be in the ballot itself. And so in this testimony phase, after the proposals have been written, this is our chance to be able to ask them to maybe add something else, or maybe just show our support for certain things so that we can hopefully get those important things on the ballot.
Exactly, and this is where it's like we don't have to rely just on the people who are elected, but it's actually like our ideas that become part of law, that become part of like how do we live within the community that we're in right now. So these right to foods are really focused on like how are we actually creating a sustainable source of food here in Hawaii. That relates to our mission, because as we're trying to reduce waste in Hawaii and lessen the reliance on imports, we want to support locally grown food and also the connection that happens to AINA when you actually do grow your own food here. One last note, and we're going to come back to more of this in future sessions of like actually submitting testimony and deadlines on it, but we've also submitted a charter amendment that is around a zero waste 2040 plan, and this is very much obviously aligned with our mission of trying to reduce the amount of single-use plastics that are in our society, but not only that, food waste and other types of waste that are contributing to both greenhouse gases, but also just this reliance on imported goods that we have here. So yeah, we've submitted that one. I'm gonna click over here onto this. There's a large chart that you can also access via that Charter Commission website that has all of the proposals. Ours is P243, so mark that down on your minds and calendars is what we would love to have support on for the mission of Sustainable Coastlines Hawaii too.
Yeah.
Do you have anything to add on that?
I just wanted to say, like, connecting it back to our mission again, like, since I do a lot of work with our Ahupua'a program specifically, we do restoration with students from Mauka to Makai, and it kind of connects those dots to make it clear on why we care about food security as well as plastic pollution, when people usually think of us as mainly plastics focused. But it's that, yeah, wrapping our foods in plastic, right? Our dependency on food and on food being imported and all of the waste that comes with that, versus what can happen as a society here if we connect more with our aina, if we're able to grow more from our land here and support composting that will help nourish our land. So these are all things that seem like they're not connected, but ultimately they all align with our mission and the work that we do, and therefore we hope you folks can help us support.
Yeah. And just real quick on deadlines, we know that our friends here who have supported these Right to Food initiatives are hoping to get testimony in by December 9th for P119, December 15th for P031. We'll have a similar deadline on basically during December for our Zero Waste Plan that we'll follow up with testimony about. There's going to be rolling hearings about different categories of these bills. So these ones are most likely in the environment category, and so the Charter Commission will be listening to testimony and actually going through the proposals over time, over the next, I believe, 5 months or so, before it actually goes to the Charter Commission to decide on the ones that will be on the ballot in November. So we have some time, but we want to also get you all moving on this, so we're going to follow up with some next steps soon.
We'll try to make it as easy as possible so you can all get involved.
Thanks, Jocelyn, for talking story about this. It's important stuff.
Yeah, civics is still sexy.
Thanks to all of you out there.